the headquarters right now, working on a few things. Got my guy over here actually starting at the back to mow the yard. I get a couple things lined out, and I just wanted to talk about staying in your lane. And I want to say that because a lot of times we'll, especially being independent, we'll try to jump on different jobs and try to do different things that we shouldn't do, but we'll go out of our way to try to do it to get the ink, to get the finances, and then come to find out we end up losing because we should have stayed in our lane. Now it's more complicated. We had to put more work into it. It was more money tied up in it, and it was due to us not staying in our lane. So certain things, man, you just gotta let someone else do what they do and build you a good team. It's all about building a good team because if you build a good team, everybody can play their position. It's all about playing your position. You know your part. Like for instance, I know if it was coming to sports and we was talking about football, I grew up playing it and enjoyed the game. I'm a running back. So there's no reason for me to try to be a wide receiver. I'm too short for that. And plus, that's not my role. Now, I can run out and catch a pass, don't get me wrong, but that's not my position. Just like being a quarterback is not my position. You know what I mean? So I think that a lot of times us really building our independence is knowing our position, knowing our lane, and being comfortable with saying, hey, this ain't what I do. I'm going to have to pass on that, but I do know someone that's what they do. You know what I mean? Sometimes, we be wanting it and we be willing to just jump in, and mess up something, but we trying to get something. I heard one of my people that I respect, Master P, was telling a story inside of the articles of No Limit that they've been playing on BET. He shared a story where a guy needed a house inside painted. He didn't have a clue about doing it, but he wanted to network and do the guy, so he did it anyway. And he messed it up terribly, but the guy loved his drive that he tried to do it anyway. I like the ideal and the point behind that. But then also certain things we have to come to point in life and just realize that hey, that's not my lane. Good morning, brother. Good morning. Good morning. Good rising to everybody. So I think that it's wise just for us to realize what our lane is. I know my lane. I know my lane is welding and fabricating and installing and building products. That's my lane. That's what I do. That's what I do. So I try to stay in my lane. I try to do things that I'm comfortable with. Like this trailer here, I got big goals with fabricating and fixing it. I know it look like a piece of crap right now, but it's going to be better. But I think that's the goal is to know what you do. This is my lane. So when I seen this, one guy thought, oh, this is nothing, man. I'm gonna make a little extra money on this. I'm gonna throw it away. Rising, rising, grand rising. Yes, 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 sis. Yes, yes. The guy was like, oh, this is nothing. But I seen the potential because this is my lane. Is to modify things, to correct things, to repair things, to make things new again. That's my lane, when it comes to metal and fabrication. So I think that it's wise that we have to figure out our lane, you know what I mean, and just stay in it. However you drive, you just should stay in your lane. And it keeps you from getting accidents. It keeps you from extra headaches and extra bills and things that come up because you was trying to do something that you should have just stayed in your lane. So this morning, I actually just wanted to come to you, just talk to you a little bit, just about staying in your lane, doing what you do and critiquing it and getting good at it. And ain't nothing wrong with adding stuff to your lane so you can have multiple things that you're good at. Just know what you're good at. And if that's not what you do, then, don't try to specialize or don't try to boast about that's what you do. Because all it's going to do in the long run is add a lot of extra stress to you. You know what I mean? And when it comes, like I say, when it comes to welding and fabricating, that's my thing. And not just that, but troubleshooting and thinking outside the box. And my heart is big enough where I don't close a door on the opportunity, especially if I know I can do it. It might be a little difficult. I might say this might be a little difficult, but I can pull this off. I can do this. You know what I mean? But it's all about knowing your lane, being comfortable, knowing what you do, and going from there, man. Because I think that is wise. But trying to step into somebody else's lane when it's not your lane, it's going to cost you a lot of headaches. It's going to cost you a lot of headaches. 100%. It's going to cost you a lot of headaches. It's just going to add extra stress to your life. Maybe add some more gray hairs to your life. You know what I mean? Just stay in your lane, man. I think that doing that it allows us to live longer, have more happiness and fulfillment because we're not trying to confuse ourselves with getting in somebody else's lane. I know, right? Don't you hate when people just drive, you just driving along and somebody just try to cut you off in your own lane, you know what I mean? And it's the same thing, vice versa. So you have to, when I was teaching my daughter how to drive, I used to always tell her that, once I teach you, I'm not worried about you, but I'm worried about those that around you because you're gonna have to watch out for them too. Even though you're driving, you got to look from the side, the rear, you got to stay conscious and aware of what's going on because sometimes you have to drive for someone else. Sometimes you do have to slow down so that way someone is trying to rush in your lane, give them their space. Because one thing for sure, I have seen so many people try to jump in front of me and run real fast, and then I meet them at the stop sign or the stoplight. You know what I mean? So it's just funny that how things go. There's something we just got to take our time and just go with the flow of things and just really understand what it means. Like today, I was up thinking the wind is blowing, it's nice and cool out, and I have a couple issues on my plate trying to get my container finished and complete, and looking to hire different people to do certain things, and it's just certain things when you're in a new city, man. It's almost like pulling teeth on certain situations when you dealing with a different mentality because each place you go, you have to deal with a different mentality, and it's just what it is. Every place I have traveled to, it has been different mentalities in the area. But one thing I know about real people, one thing I know about the spirit of God and the spirit of endurance and a faith on the Lord person, and no matter where you go in the country, our spirits stay the same. So you just have to read the spirit of people and don't get caught up with what they say and how they greet you. I'm in Oklahoma City. They have the southern thing going as far as the greeting and politeness, but they still backstabbers. You know what I mean? So I would rather deal with somebody that don't speak with you than somebody that speak to you and then want to stab you in the back or talk BS behind you. You know what I mean? I would rather just know what I'm dealing with. In Phoenix, they walk past you, they're gonna look like you got shit on them, and then look at you like you got shit on you. And it's all right. That's somebody I'm not dealing with. Just keep on going. You know what I mean? So here it's a little deceptive. A person will say, hey brother," and they ain't your brother, or hey sister, let me hold this, and they talking about you. You know what I mean? It's that type of thing here too. So I have seen that and noticed it myself, and sometimes it be with people um, get intimidated by something new or someone bringing a new idea or with a new approach, and it's in the area where they feel like it's only one way to do it. It's only one thing because that's all they know. It's what they was told, and so when it comes to you doing it, then it's a different ball game. Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, it's a trip the way it goes because people would tend to, you know, when you try to give a new idea, they're gonna try to knock it. So what I learned is when you go to a new area, it's always best to bring your team or create your team. Don't try to get there and say, "Oh, I'm gonna create a team at this new spot," because the people think different. So you got to make sure whoever your team is, they got to be people of the like-minded. We got to have the same faith. We got to have the same boldness, the same audacity, the same spirit. Like you got to build your team like that. You don't want no weak links in your team. Everybody stands for something. It means something. Just like your body. Every member in your body stands for something. It means something. You know what I mean? And like the old saying say, if the arm is not working, cut it off. It's better to not have it than have it with you, and it's not serving no purpose, and it's holding you down. So I think that's what we have to do when we're dealing with people, dealing with new areas, is to really figure out who we need to put in our circle, the people we really need to build a team with. You know what I mean? So just stay in your lane, man, and learn to keep your spirit open. Have discernment. Don't just look at the flashy things or people promising you or saying things that they can do. Oh, I can grow your bit. Oh, I can. We can do. It's cool to have the puffed up ideas, but actions mean everything. Actions is everything. Like, I could say a whole lot, but until you physically seen me out here working on the container, physically seeing me out here getting the grind on, knocking on doors, making moves, it didn't mean nothing, you know? Yes, it is though. When you on another train of thought and another rim in life, people are gonna look at things differently, and that's just what it is. But actions speak louder than words. So if you show it with actions, if you say, "Hey, you know what? This is what I do. This is what I believe in. This is what I stand on. This is what it is," and things I honestly believe will work itself out. But when you caught up in thinking that there's only one way to do something, there's only one way around it, like things just going to be hard for you. I mean, just think outside the box. Don't allow someone to say what you can't do. Now, certain things in life that it's a system. It's a certain way. So it's a certain way you have to go through to get to these certain people. There is a procedure to certain things. Now, but when it's being independent and you're building your own blueprint and you're designing your business or you're trying to find your approach, there's nothing but guidelines. There's not nothing written in stone. Everything what works for me might not work for you. What works for you might not work for me. You see what I'm saying? But I can still use what you did as an example, as a guide to help me get to that next level. And I think that's what we have to do. But when you're dealing with people all the time, man, you're gonna find that. So I like to just show and lead by example. And when I know something is not me, when I know something isn't what I do, isn't my thing, then I move on and I find somebody that's what they do, that's their thing. And I think that it helps everybody out. Like, it keeps everybody involved too, because I'm not trying to play your lane, you ain't trying to play mine. And we come together and work together as a team, and everything works out fine. I can send you work, you send me work, you see what I'm saying? And I think that's what it's about. But don't get caught up in trying to count somebody else's pocket. Man, I can't tell you how many people you try to network with. They want to count what you making or what you doing. Like, why are you worried about what the next person doing if you're not doing this? If you're not doing, all I'm saying is, if you only putting 5% in, don't think you finna take 20% out. It's not gonna work like that. You're gonna get out what you put in. Yes, 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 I agree with you. Trying to go back to your message. Yes, yes, yes. You have to realize one simple fact, that in life you're going to get out of it what you put into it. It's just what it is. So don't think that you're going to get a big piece of the cake and you didn't help make it and you didn't put nothing in it. You need to be happy that you got a piece of it if someone offered you something. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, it's all about what we put in, man. It's everybody put in something different. Like, we all gonna put in something different, and the person that do more, he deserves more, or she deserves more, and you shouldn't be hating on them for accomplishing it. Yes. 100%. Whatever it is that you do, do your thing. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to say that today, man, because I see people trying to jump in people's lane all the time and not specializing in anything. Like, the saying, I'm a jack of all trade and a master of none. You don't want to do that. You want to master one thing for sure. And you can jack everything else to make money. You can jack anything, but you want to have one thing that is your lane. It's what you do. It's your cup of tea. It's your coffee. It's your cigar. It's made just for you. But you got to remember this too. And I want to say this before I let you go. When we wake up and we get enlightened spiritually, mentally, and we want to share things with others, don't get discouraged that the others don't wake up and don't gravitate to what you got to give them off the top, because it's not going to happen. So remember that your goal is to be the light. A light shines. You just let the light shine. Your goal is not to wake anyone up. Your goal is not to be the rooster in the morning and start crowing. That's not your goal. Your goal is to be the light of the world. And the light of the world is going to shine. And you're going to shine by your examples and what you do. So don't get discouraged when someone's not doing or not responding or not gravitating to your message. It takes time. You remember, you're a seed planter. You're not the grower. God is going to determine the output. He's going to make sure you're going to get out of it what you put in. It's going to happen. But you got to realize one simple fact, that you can't get discouraged when things don't work out. You just plant seeds. You just plant seeds. And later when you come back around, you're going to see the growth starting to grow. And it might be somebody else that go back and prune it. You see what I'm saying? So don't get caught up in that, because that is the quick way to give up and get discouraged on doing your business, on being independent, on actually helping people and having a sincere, genuine message. Because if you have a sincere, genuine message, then just give it. Don't worry about the people that might not clap or might not pat your back, because there's going to be people that's probably going to come to you later. They're going to say, hey, I've been watching you for so and so a year or 2 years, and it was because of you that helped me do this. They might never reached out to you, and then later they reach out to you once they made to a certain level, say, hey, I want to bless you, I want to help you, because it was you to help me get here. But if you wouldn't have planted that seed, and if you wouldn't have did what you did, you would have never helped that person or changed that life. So just keep that in mind when you own your independence, when you own your grind, to stay in your lane, and remember you are the light of the world. Hog on.